Deoxys was born from the mutation of a space virus. However, it may be more closely connected to Kalos' legendary Pokemon than we first thought. So I've spent the last few weeks collaborating with various research teams across the Kalos region and the Hoenn region to determine Deoxys' true origin, its uninfected form, and to ask, can it be cured? Kia ora trainers, I'm Professor Kauri. With research into Project ZA fully underway, one of my assistants brought to my attention some possible connections between Kalos' history and Hoenn's mythical Pokemon Deoxys. Deoxys' origin is as mysterious as it is fascinating. While many believe it to be a solitary entity, sightings of Deoxys across different regions suggest otherwise. Reports of these encounters raise the question, could Deoxys be a species, an entire group of beings, all formed by the mutation of a spaceborne virus? One of the earliest accounts comes from gym leader Brock, who travelled with fellow trainers Ash and Misty. During their time in LaRouche City, a meteor crashed nearby from which they encountered not one, but two unique Deoxys. In another incident, Pokemon Ranger Solana encountered a rogue Deoxys while patrolling the Kanto region. This Deoxys was behaving unpredictably and had caused a disturbance in the area. Solana's ability to contain the situation provided us with vital data on how these beings react when isolated from their celestial origins. And perhaps the most dramatic account comes from Zinnia, the lawkeeper of the Draconid people. She witnessed a friend, whom I believe many know as the hero of Hoenn, ride atop of a mega-evolved Rayquaza into space itself, where they destroyed a meteor headed for Earth. On that meteor was yet another Deoxys, battling Rayquaza in the vacuum of space. These stories, combined with my own research on the meteor fragments here in my lab, suggest that the appearance of Deoxys isn't just a singular occurrence, but it's part of a far larger cosmic phenomenon. But what exactly was the virus that mutated into Deoxys? Historical research records from various projects, including those gathered by my colleagues at the Moss Deep Space Center and Project ZA, indicate that Deoxys was once a space virus, transformed by a mysterious laser. For instance, these Pokédex entries provide us with vital clues. Sourced from Professor Birch's Project Omega Ruby Dex, the DNA of a space virus underwent a sudden mutation upon exposure to a laser beam and resulted in Deoxys. The crystalline organ on this Pokemon's chest appears to be its brain. And from the Project Alpha Sapphire Dex, Deoxys emerged from a virus that came from space. It is highly intelligent and wields psychokinetic powers. This Pokemon shoots lasers from the crystalline organ on its chest. These entries illustrate not only Deoxys' origins, but also hint at its remarkable abilities. Deoxys is known to have 4 distinct forms: normal, attack, defense, and speed. Each form possesses a unique distribution of stats that showcases its capabilities. Due to the form names of the first 3 forms discovered, it became known as the DNA Pokemon, quite fitting for a virus that changes a Pokemon's genetics. Deoxys' normal form has balanced stats, emphasizing its versatility, whereas its attack form maximizes its offensive power, boosting its attack stat while reducing its defenses, while its defense form prioritizes survivability, enhancing its defense while sacrificing speed, and its speed form allows it to outspeed opponents, increasing its speed stat at the cost of its attack and defense. This dynamic ability to shift forms raises questions about its underlying biology. Could there be a connection to the effects of an already known virus? I recently consulted with Nurse Joy from my local Pokemon Center questioning about Pokerus. Nurse Joy explained that Pokerus is a virus that significantly impacts a Pokemon's training process. When a Pokemon is infected with Pokerus, it receives double the effort values from battles and helps it grow stronger, faster. This enhancement can lead to noticeable changes in a Pokemon's overall performance. When we compare Pokerus to Deoxys' ability to alter its stats through form changes, the similarities are quite striking. Just as Pokerus enhances stat gains, Deoxys' various forms adjust its strengths and weaknesses, allowing it to adapt to different battle situations. Given this information, Pokerus seems like a likely candidate for the space virus that became Deoxys. Could it be that Deoxys represents a more advanced evolution of Pokerus, or an infected being that has reached its peak potential? To understand how Deoxys was created, we need to visit the tragic history of the ultimate weapon in Kalos. Over 3,000 years ago, the Kalos War raged, devastating the land and leaving countless lives in its wake. In response to this destruction and the subsequent death of his Floette in battle, AZ constructed the ultimate weapon, harnessing the life-giving power of Xerneas to revive his fallen companion. Professor Sycamore, a key figure in Kalosian research, shared with me how Xerneas' power is rooted in the concept of life itself, capable of restoring Pokemon and bringing vitality back to the world. He also noted that the weapon was fired twice during its history. The first blast resurrected Floette, while the second unleashed catastrophic ruin, this time powered by Yveltal, the embodiment of destruction and loss. This devastating power brought an end to the war, but left a scar on the landscape and the inhabitants of Kalos. Most researchers focus on the weapon's devastating second use, assuming that any mutation for Deoxys came from that cataclysmic event. However, I believe it is the first blast, the one used to give life to Floette, that is the key to Deoxys' creation. Consider this. The immense burst of energy unleashed during the resurrection would have been monumental. Life-giving energy of that magnitude radiating into space could have easily impacted a passing space virus, altering it into the Pokemon we now know as Deoxys. Now let's shift our focus back to Hoenn and visit Rayquaza. Unlike most Pokemon capable of Mega Evolution, Rayquaza doesn't need a Megastone. Why? Because it possesses something even more remarkable. Meteorites irradiated by the same infinity energy that powered Kalos' ultimate weapon. According to research conducted by Professor Birch's team, Rayquaza flies forever through the ozone layer, consuming meteoroids for substance. The many meteoroids in its body provide the energy it needs to Mega Evolve. As Rayquaza consumes these meteorites, it accumulates the cosmic energy within them. This energy grants it the ability to Mega Evolve, and interestingly, the energy found in these meteorites is strikingly similar to the energy that caused Deoxys' mutation. I recently spoke with Professor Cosmo from Hoenn, one of the foremost experts on meteorites and infinity energy. Following the dramatic events involving Rayquaza and Deoxys above the Moss Deep Space Center, Cosmo's research uncovered fascinating new details about the relationship between meteorites, Mega Evolution, and infinity energy. In a recent email, he shared some compelling insights. A relationship between the Megastones, Keystones, and the meteorites. I know a man, a dear friend in the Kalos region, who has been researching Mega Evolution. We worked together a few years back here at Meteor Falls researching meteorites. We will start off by artificially replicating the massive energy that is triggered at the time of Mega Evolution. This collaboration between Cosmo and his Kalos counterpart raises some intriguing possibilities. Cosmo's research indicates that the meteors contain the same infinity energy that is seen in Megastones, generated by the firing of the ultimate weapon, providing a strong piece of evidence that the weapon's laser was indeed the source of Deoxys' mutation. But here's the twist. As we delve deeper into its origins, we must consider a thought-provoking question. Was Deoxys simply a virus, or was it once a Pokemon infected by a virus? If it were indeed a host Pokemon that gained a mutated evolution from its viral infection, could it potentially be cured back to its original state? Currently, we have launched a probe towards the nearest asteroid belt to gather more data on this intriguing possibility. While we must wait some time for the first sets of data to return, I wanted to share some of the analytical simulations that my team created, illustrating what the original form of Deoxys could have been like before the ultimate weapon permanently changed it. Imagine a small bipedal psychic and rock-type creature in the vacuum of space. This solitary Pokemon meanders across its meteor, going about its daily life on its own. Let me introduce you to the first of two, Proto-Deoxys. Proto-Deoxys lives a peaceful life, slowly eating away at the rock for sustenance. Its serene existence is marked by a gentle curiosity, exploring its small corner of the cosmos. However, as we explore further, we discover the impact of the Pokerus virus. In a few of these crystalline Pokémon, the virus takes hold, altering their very nature. We call this new form Proto-Deoxys infected form. As these Pokémon become infected, their appearance reflects an inner transformation, and they become stronger and aggressive. But Deoxys wasn't the only Pokémon to change form from the ultimate weapon's blasts. The others were